Good evening and welcome to the Taos County Sheriff Candidates Forum. My name is Joan Livingston. I'm the managing editor of the Taos News. This is our fourth forum this year. As with the other forums, our sponsors tonight are the Taos News, the Taos County Chamber of Commerce, Carson Electric Cooperative, which knocks itself out, getting this room ready for us. And once again, Channel 22 from UNM-Taos is our partner in this event. The crew here is live streaming this forum, so anyone can follow along on taos22.com and taosnews.com. Also, if you want to review this again, you can go to taos22.com, Channel 22, and taosnews.com to see the video probably tomorrow, correct? You guys are so fast. Also, Taos News web coordinator Andrew Oxford is live blogging and tweeting from this forum on taosnews.com, and you can also see that tomorrow or I guess forever if you want to just see what he writes. My understanding is that we've never had a forum for sheriff's candidates before, but I don't know if the Taos News has. That's what I was told. But with so many people running for this position, we thought it would be helpful to voters. 8 Democrats and 1 Republican are running for Taos County Sheriff in the June primary. The Democrats are, according to their placement on the ballot, CELEDON Gallegos, Robert Allen Rivera, BONNEY Gabriel Medina, Betty J. Martinez-Gonzales, Jerry L. HOGREFE,
welcome everyone,
Ricky M. Romero, Steve MIERA Jr., Matthew F. VIGIL,
hello,
and the winning Democrat will face Richard E. Trujillo, a Republican, in the November general election. In a moment, I will let the candidates tell you who they are. But first, here are the rules. Candidates will have 2 minutes for their introduction and 2 minutes for closing statement. They will also have 2 minutes to answer questions, except for a lightning round, in which we will ask all the candidates the same quick question. Andrew and I met with Taos Police Chief David Weaver to come up with topics for this forum, and have also received questions suggested by our readers. And by the way, none of the candidates know the questions or topics ahead of time, and we'll also rotate who gets to speak first. Susan Cady from the Chamber of Commerce is our timer, and will let the candidates know when their time is up. And finally, to keep the forum moving, we ask that you hold your applause until the very end. And likewise, we want this forum to have a friendly and respectful atmosphere, as we did at our other events. Although seeing the candidates together, it's hard to believe that they're actually running against each other. They're so friendly to each other. So let's begin with the intros, and first up is CELEDON Gallegos. That's okay, I can speak on.
Hello everybody, welcome to the forum. My name is CELEDON Gallegos. I am a deputy with the Taos County Sheriff. I have been with the Sheriff's Department for approximately 6 years. Just a little bit about myself. I grew up in Ranchos de Taos. I graduated from high school here in Taos. After that, I went to Las Vegas and attended New Mexico Highlands University. Shortly after that, I came back and I married my wife of 11 years. We have 4 children. My oldest is 13, Mariana. She attends Taos Middle School. She is in Honor Society. My second is Sonia. She attends Taos Middle School, or Taos Elementary School, or Ranchos Elementary School. And she is in competitive cheer. My son, Cele, he's in the Enos Garcia the Enos Garcia School, and he plays baseball. And my youngest is 15 months old, and he's studying to be an astronaut at Grandma's house. The platform that I'm running for sheriff is a more community-oriented department. I want the Sheriff's Department to be part of the community, and I want the community to be part of the Sheriff's Department. Another aspect of community-oriented policing is communication with the different communities, Peñasco, Costilla, Cerro, Ranchos, Taos, the municipality of Taos. Also, all the other law enforcement agencies, state police, city police, also children, youth, and families, including we as a law enforcement with the Sheriff's Department also deal a lot with the civil matters and with animal control. I would appreciate your support and your vote. Thank you.
So we can just go right down the line. Okay, thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Robert Allen Rivera. I'm a Taos native, born and raised here. Born in 1949 in Costilla, New Mexico. I've lived here pretty much most of my life. I am a retired deputy chief with the Taos Police Department after serving 30 years in law enforcement. I was instrumental in developing new procedures and policies with the Taos Police Department in conjunction with Chief Neil Curran and the Taos Police Department, the lieutenants and the sergeants and the officers. We were all in unison in developing the new policies. That's what my proposal is with the Taos County Sheriff's Department. I propose to develop new procedures and policies and up to date everything with the Taos County Sheriff's Department. I will be an open door sheriff. As you see me, that's the way you're going to see me in uniform. I'll be no different than the deputies. I will be working out with the deputies, and when it's time to do administrative work, I'll do it. I did it with the Taos Police Department, and I'll do it with the Sheriff's Department. I will be in unison with the outlying communities. I will graft and I will put deputies in those outlying areas where they're screaming for help. As you all know, Peñasco has been hit by a rash of armed robberies, and these people here in Peñasco in the south, they're deserving of law enforcement in that community. They're hurting for it. And that's what my intent is to bring law enforcement to the outlying communities. We have to have deputies out there to help these people. If we leave them alone, they're going to start taking the law into their own hands, and we can't afford to have that happen. We can't be lazy, and we have to provide them with service. They're taxpayers just like everybody else here is in Taos County. I thank you for your time, and I thank you for my time.
My name is Bonnie Gabriel Medina. I was born in Taos. My father worked for NASA, so we moved to Huntsville, Alabama, where I was raised. In '75, I came back to Taos. Got a haircut. Out of 5 candidates, I was the only one to pass the lie detector test. It was back then, and he was my supervisor. And the thing is, I was a police officer for 20 years with the Taos Police Department. I was the DARE officer, the Crime Stoppers liaison officer. I was the bicycle cop, the motorcycle cop. I was very busy with the public. What I want to do is get the communities involved with the Taos County Sheriff's Office. We need your help. I'm going to be getting the deputies off the units and talking to people, follow-ups, not just taking a report, follow-ups. A week later, 3 days later, whatever it has to take, they will be contacting the people and reassuring them that something is being done. I want to curb domestic violence. Why? I lost my daughter due to domestic violence. I want to curb it. Can't stop it, but we can curb it. We'll be using a lot of agencies. If an officer goes to a domestic violence, he will be there for the victim and the kids. CYFD will be contacted, and the other agencies that help in those matters. Another thing too is community involvement. What is there, 16, 17 deputies for this vast area of this county? We need the community help. We need you for our eyes and ears. Oh. Well, nice talking to you, and I hope you have a nice day.
Good evening, everybody. I'm Betty Joanna Martinez-Gonzales, and I was born and raised here in Taos. I'm married to my husband, Dennis Gonzales. We've been married for 34 years. We have two children, one daughter that is Melissa, and she's married to Jerry. They've got 3 boys. My son is married to Marianne, and they've got a son and a daughter. We're proud parents of 5 grandchildren. I come from a family of 10 children. I'm the number 5th in the line of the 10, and I'm number 5 on the ballot. I'm very happy being number 5. 5 is a good number for me. I worked 37 years with the judicial system. I retired after serving 29 years as your magistrate judge here in Taos. And in those 29 years, I took a lot of extensive courses in the law. I'm well versed in all of the statutes. Excuse me, I think I'm catching a cold. I've been hitting door after door every day since January 4th, so my body has taken, I think, a toll on me. That's okay. But anyway, through the 29 years that I was a judge, I was educated very much in New Mexico statutes with all the law, and it covers everything. And because of that, I feel that I'm qualified to be your sheriff, and I'm very capable of doing a very good job, as I did when I was a judge. I can do a very good job as a sheriff. And I have heard a lot of concerns that the public has while I've been out door to door, and I'm willing and I'm taking that challenge on to rectify all those problems. And when I was elected as a judge, I was one of the magistrates chosen by the Supreme Court to represent New Mexico at Omaha, Nebraska, at a conference. And I guess that's it. My time is up. I'll tell you more later.
Hello, I'm Jerry HOGREFE, and I want to be your next sheriff. I'm excited to be here tonight, and I really appreciate the opportunity that Taos News has given us to let us come and talk. I'm not a native. I've lived in northern New Mexico for 30 of my 47 years. I affectionately call myself a New Mexico almost native. I am super proud that I've been married to this fantastic lady here in the front row for 26 years, that relationship has endured. We have one son. He attended University of New Mexico and recently got married. Other than my in-laws that recently relocated to northern New Mexico, I have no other family here. But make no mistake about it, this is my home. I'm a career cop. I did 26 years of law enforcement experience in service, and I ain't done yet. 22 of those were in Red River, and about 4 of them here with the Taos Police Department. In Red River, I was the town marshal for my last 5 years up there. I managed 10 full-time staff, about 20 part-time staff, had a budget that I managed of over $600,000 in grants and many other things. Here in Taos, I worked as a patrolman, a detective. For most of 2012, I was your interim police chief while we searched for what we thought was going to be the next full-time, long-term chief, rather. During my time here, I led a staff of 35, managed a $3 million budget, and was over police and communications. In my career, I have accumulated well over 3,000 hours of police experience and training. I am currently certified as an executive level police officer. That's the highest obtainable in New Mexico, and I'm very proud of that accomplishment. I'm an instructor. I'm still current in all of my certifications and instructorships in general police, police operations, firearms, tactics, rapid response, and all those kind of things. I've also been a volunteer firefighter for 25 years. I've been an EMT for 29. I've served in civic offices at the Red River Chamber of Commerce, the Red River Historical Society. I'm currently on the Taos Crime Stoppers Board. I'm the guy that wants to bring all of that experience and leadership to the Taos County Sheriff's Department. Thank you.
Hi, everybody. My name is Rick Romero. I have extensive law enforcement experience, almost 30 years, and I'm one of the only candidates running for sheriff who is a current certified law enforcement officer. I am actively employed at the Taos County Sheriff's Department as a sergeant. I was born and raised in Taos County in Peñasco, and the only time I spent away from my hometown when I was serving my country in the United States Navy aboard the USS Missouri. Both of my parents are lifelong residents of Peñasco. I'm married to my beautiful wife, Laura O's from Valdez, and I'm the proud father of 4 children. I have thousands of hours in law enforcement training. I completed the New Mexico Law Enforcement Academy and hundreds of hours more in training, too many to list here. I am qualified to fill the position of Taos County Sheriff. I will not just be an administrator. As a current certified law enforcement officer, I will be a working sheriff able to go to any call to assist the sheriff's deputies. If you're not a certified police officer, as many candidates are not, you can only stand back and watch. This has been a lifelong dream of mine, and I will do everything in my power to complete each task set before me successfully and to the best of my ability. I have been with the Sheriff's Department for 14 years. I know what works and what doesn't. I will have an open door policy for the community. I won't make any false promises to place more officers on every shift, because the truth is we don't have them. What I can promise to do is better utilize every officer we have by updating their equipment and technology that they have in their units, so they will be able to spend more time in the outlying communities of Taos. We have very well qualified and dedicated individuals at the Sheriff's Department. They should be equipped with everything necessary to keep the community safe as themselves. I will also change the way calls are dispatched so there will be quicker response times. I will focus on being proactive with issues of such domestic violence, mental health, public safety, animal control issues, gang activity, and rising drug problems. I ask for your vote for Taos County Sheriff because I have dedicated my life to protecting the community, and I will continue to do so as your sheriff. Thank you.
You timed
Good afternoon. My pride in serving you today is affirmed by the turnout that we have today. Hello, my name is Steve Mieta Jr. I was born and raised here in Taos, and I was a 1989 high school graduate of Taos High. Shortly after that, I enlisted and was honorably discharged from the United States Marine Corps. From there, I went on to serve the village of Cuesta as a police officer, and from there I went to Pico de Pueblo. Shortly after that, I served with the New Mexico Department of Public Safety as a police officer, and was stationed throughout the state of New Mexico, Roswell, Hobbs, Santa Fe, until 2003 when I was hired by the Taos County Sheriff's Department by former Sheriff Charlie Martinez here. He gave me the opportunity to serve my community, and I have been doing so for the last 11 years. I've served at the Taos County Sheriff's Department as a deputy, as a sergeant, and as a lieutenant, which I currently hold that rank now. I believe in, and my platform is going to be bringing and strengthening the bond between the community and the Sheriff's Department. Without the support and the confidence of the communities, the several communities, 29 separate communities of Taos County, the sheriff is basically nothing. With that support, there's nothing that I can't accomplish, because I have that never quit and will not take no for an answer attitude. I know that there are very many obstacles facing the Taos County Sheriff's Department today and Taos County, and together we can address those issues together. Thank you very much.
Hello, my name is Matthew Vigil. I'm running for sheriff because I believe that Taos County Sheriff's Office is in need of change. Change in both leadership and direction. My pledge is to positively and collaboratively facilitate the change, raising the level of professionalism by working closely with other law enforcement agencies, elected officials, and most importantly, the citizens of Taos County. I believe that my experiences and qualifications are essential to bring change to the Taos County Sheriff's Office. I have over 17 years in law enforcement. My tenure with law enforcement began with the New Mexico State Police. I was an undercover agent for 4 years. I was assigned to the Department of Justice, Drug Enforcement Administration, or DEA, as a task force officer. I then made my way through the ranks, promoted to sergeant, promoted to lieutenant. Once I was lieutenant with state police, I was assigned to the Office of Professional Standards Internal Affairs, which is part of the, or is the New Mexico Department of Public Safety, charged with the duties of investigating misconduct over the divisions of Special Investigations, Law Enforcement Academy, New Mexico Motor Transit Police Department, and the, of course, New Mexico State Police. I then was reassigned to a sub-district. The sub-district I was reassigned needed a lot of restructuring, and it needed stringent leadership. I went ahead and changed that department, or that district, into a functioning sub-district. In the absence of the captain, for a period of time, I took full command of this district. The district was encompassed with 5 different counties. We're running over 65 officers and over 35 support staff. Currently, I hold the rank of major with the sheriff's office outside of Taos County. I've had the opportunity to manage our budgets, and my time is up. Thank you.
Hi there, my name is Rick Trujillo. That's Rick, not Republican, Rick. I want to work for you, not for the party. I know that the party can't help you if you get in trouble, but I can as a sheriff. And I've been in Taos since 1946, and I've worked with the city of Taos, Pueblo Police, had my own security, and I've worked with DWI, Planning Council, a teen court, stuff like that. You know, I'm not a speech maker. I didn't read no speeches. I just want to let you know that if I become sheriff, I will work with you, the individual, to raise everybody's kids the right way. You know, we have a lot of drug problems out there. And why? Because everybody's slipping through the cracks. The judges aren't doing what they're supposed to do. The lawyers come over here and bond them out and stuff like that. You know, we want to do is put them in a facility where to work with them, not just throw them in there. Say, okay, you're going to do 60 days at the detox, and 60 days they're out and they're doing it again. While they're in there, they're still doing it. We don't need that. We need to clean them up completely. So we got to check within the system, make sure why they're letting them do that. And they'll say that they didn't let them, but yet you could see it on their faces and all that. Every day you see who's done what. You know, we don't need that. We need to do is work together. You know, I could promise you the moon. You know, here, I got a whole handful of promises. What good does that do? Nothing. It's up in the air. It's gone. When we pick up a prisoner, we take him into jail, do the booking, and what we do is we ask him if he needs first aid of any sort. And if they say yes, we will take them. We're not going to force them into signing a waiver that says that they don't need it, just so they can stay in there longer. You know, no, we want the treatment that they need. If they need to go to a facility, we send them to a facility. At one time when I was a detention officer, we had
Time.
Sorry. Thank you, folks.
So we're going to have the first round of questions, and Robert, this will be your question. Just draw it from this pad. How will you work with social service agencies to aid the victims of crime and prevent repeat offenses? I'll leave it here so you can, no, you have to come up here.
Oh, okay.
And I'll leave it here for you to see.
Well, being a member of the board with Children, Youth, and Family when I was lieutenant several years back, and this is an issue that has to be addressed with law enforcement. We have to prevent this continuing repeat offenses with domestic violence or social, because we have to start educating the people with their children and their children with their parents. There has to be, we have to develop a program that will be utilized for both the children, the repeat offenders. We have to have some type of, I have really, to be honest with you, this is an issue that I don't have an answer to, but I'll tell you what, being that we used to have the social problem issues when I was in the board, and victim after victim would come in months apart, and it was always the same victim. And we need to change those policies within the state, because the state has a policy that their job is to unite the families back again. And I believe that's why we have so much repeat offenders, because social services idea is to reunite the family. Even though the mother or the child is being offended, their job is to reunite the family, and we have to change our way of thinking in dealing with this issue. And I think that I believe anyway, that preventing repeat offenders is we have to rethink about reuniting the families. Sometimes they're better off when you separate them than when you reunite them. And I will do everything I can with social services in trying to curb this problem of repeat offenders. Thank you.
Okay, Gabe. What is the biggest drug problem in Taos County, and how will you stop it?
Sad to say, everybody's got a neighbor that's selling drugs or doing them. It's sad in this community of ours. We just have to have community cooperation. You as citizenry of the county, you will be our eyes and ears. You're gonna have to tell us. You're gonna have to tell us, hey, so and so down the street, or my cousin, my son. You'll have to be confident with us as a department that things will happen. We need your help, and we need the newspapers. We need the radio. We need your help. It's sad in this county. My phone number is on my card, and I've had nothing but calls from people saying, "Wow, we complain about so and so down the street, and nothing's happening." But another thing too is the judicial system needs your help also. It's very hard to get a conviction in this community. It's horribly hard. They can do all they want. We can make the arrests. We can do all this and get them on trial. But to get someone convicted is horrible in this county, because everybody feels sorry for the little hito, or the people are scared to render a verdict because of retribution. We need your help. The drug problem is horrible here, and all of you know it, and that's the biggest problem. Thank you.
Okay, Betty. The Taos County Sheriff's Department has a number of unsolved cases, such as the murder that took place in a home in Tres Piedras in 2011. How would you make the department more effective in investigating and solving such serious crimes?
Well, as a sheriff, I feel that that's why I strongly believe that you have to have a strong administrator, you have to have a strong leader, as a sheriff, because there are a lot of unsolved crimes in Taos. Cases that have just been left that, for whatever reason, I don't know, they just have not been, nothing has happened, and people are frustrated about it. So that would be one of my goals, definitely, to go back and look and open some of those cases, find out what happened, how come they weren't solved, look into them, find out what we need to do so that we could get those cases resolved. And that's why I feel strongly that you need to have a strong administrator, a strong leader, so that you can hold these officers accountable and make sure that if they go out, they know how to investigate, they know how to do the paperwork, and that way the evidence is brought into the district attorney's office, and that way the judges can then make decisions, and cases are not going to be thrown out because officers are there, the district attorney has the information they need, and then judges can make the decisions that they need to make. I was a judge for 29 years. I saw many times that police officers wouldn't come into court and process their cases. Cases got thrown out. Cases were just, the district attorney could not come in and bring in their cases for the reason being that the officers would not get them the paperwork that they needed, the evidence that they needed, or their documentation. Many times, many lawyers came before me and said, Judge, this paperwork, this documentation hasn't been brought over by the police officers. We're not handling this case. And the officers themselves, then it was an officer prosecution. The officer would not show up and would not prosecute those cases. Judge has no choice but to throw those cases out of court. So I feel that this is a big concern in Taos, and I will definitely open up these cases. If I'm chosen and elected to be your sheriff, I will go back and open these cases. This will be a priority to me, for me. Thank you.
Okay, Jerry. How would you improve collaboration between local law enforcement agencies like the Taos Police Department and the New Mexico State Police? This was not planned.
Thank you, Joan. That's done. When I'm elected your next sheriff, that matter is done, and it is behind us because I have the working relationship with Chief David Weaver. We've worked together before. I've worked for him. He worked for me. Our relationship is solid and is one that's formed out of trust and doing the right thing because it's the right thing to do every time. With Lieutenant Eduardo Martinez now being our commander of the New Mexico State Police Taos District, he and I go way back. We have that same trust, that same bond. We've already discussed this matter. It's a done deal. That issue is behind us. I will probably get a cake, and I will probably have put on that cake, please forgive our department, and I will probably carry it to him and get down on one knee and present it, because I want a fresh beginning between our law enforcement agencies, and not just state police, not just Taos, but every law enforcement agency that we have in this community, to include the federal agencies. My friend Kevin, who works at DEA, the FBI agents that we sat with intelligence meetings at for year after year. We've got that working relationship. It's there, it's proven, it's done. So with that, I don't even need the 2 minutes because, folks, it's done. I will bring that to this community. Thank you.
This is for you. We have heard complaints of long response times, especially in the county's outlying communities. How will you reduce response times?
Is that for me or Steve?
No, for you.
Okay.
Here you go.
I can answer that one. The problem that we're having now is the sheriff's office is handling 100% of the calls. That was something that we didn't have anything to do with this. It came from the sheriff. For whatever reason, the calls were being taken away from state police. Anything that goes to state police directly to them, they handle. Anything that comes to the sheriff's office, 911, we handle 100% of the calls. We have to get aboard and reduce this. We have to make all the departments cohesive, make everybody work together. Sometimes there's officers that are responding from Peñasco and there's a call in Costilla. People are, why it took you 30 minutes to get here? Well, the officer has to travel from Peñasco all the way over there because somebody found it fit to not let the state police take calls. We used to rotate calls, one them, one us. All we have to do is make the departments come together as one. We can make this work if we work together. It doesn't work when we work by ourselves. Exactly what Jerry said, it's a done deal. As far as I'm concerned, it's a done deal because we're better when we're all united. That's one of my things in my campaign is there's BIA, there's tribal police, there's state police, there's city police, Cuesta. There's a ton of people that can assist and respond, but they're not able to do so. And as your sheriff, I will make sure that it gets done automatically. Thank you.
Okay. Okay, Steve, what will you do to address domestic violence in Taos County?
I have found that domestic violence is something that we tend not to talk about. We know what happens. We know it's there. Some of it gets reported, but most of it doesn't. We can address the situation through training. Training the officers, educating the public, and uniting, again, the Sheriff's Department with the county. Having officers a part of certain boards, Community Against Violence, having them more involved with the Sheriff's Department. Addressing victim advocate organizations by having them involved with the Sheriff's Department as well. Training is probably the utmost important thing that we can have to combat this ongoing plague, I would call it, because like I said, it's something that happens everywhere. Every single one of us in this room has experienced domestic violence to some degree. And this is something that we all need to address as a community, as a county, together. Thank you.
Okay, Matthew. How will you support neighborhood watch programs, and how much do you really think they could help in curbing crimes? Or I guess I should ask you, do you support neighborhood watch programs, and how much do you think they can really help?
Thank you, Joan. Yes, I do support neighborhood watch programs. Part of my platform, there's several things that I'm looking at. One of them is community-oriented policing or problem-oriented policing. It involves the community, either which way you put it. What I want to do is get the deputies several different ways. Get them up to date in technology so that they are actually out on their patrols. If they handle a call, they have the means of completing the report inside their unit through a computer-aided dispatch or a mobile data terminal. But on top of doing that, getting out into the community, rural communities, if a deputy is out there talking and meeting with people, farmers, just the neighbors, you're going to go ahead and get to know these people. They're going to be able to tell you what the problem is in the area, who the problem makers are, and you could go ahead and take action on that. I do believe that neighborhood watch programs are a step in the right direction. I think that the deputies need to get more involved with the community. I, as sheriff, if elected, plan on hitting neighborhood watch programs, being involved in various events within the community. I think that's an essential part of being part of a community, is being in the community. So simply, yes, I do support the neighborhood watch programs.
Okay, Rick. What is the biggest crime problem facing Taos County, and how would you address it?
I believe that child abuse is the biggest crime that we have in Taos County. And then we have domestic. And then we have everything else works from underneath that, drugs and all that. And the reason that we have drugs and all that is because, like I say, we have kids that are out there with nothing to do. The parents are busy working, I don't blame them, The kids wants this, wants that, ask mom, dad for it, and they give it to them just to pacify them, so they can be able to work, and and the kid just gets involved with the wrong group. Get these groups out of state. They bring in the drugs. They start selling it to the kids. Well, first they give them to them, and then they sell it to them, get them hooked, and that's what they call their mules. They do all the delivering for them. And I think that if we eliminate that, most of it anyway, we can't eliminate everything. We can do some difference, but it's got to be you folks, not just the sheriff's department. You, the individual, you see something wrong, call the Crime Stoppers, call the police department, the sheriff department, any ally agency. We can work with you. You don't have to worry about giving your names. We don't care that you turned them in. We're happy that you do. So we'd like for you to work with us on that. Thank you.
It's yours, CELEDON. Hold on a second here. Deputies often encounter individuals with mental health issues. How will you ensure deputies are equipped to work with people who have such disabilities?
Here in Taos County, we do not occasionally, but a lot deal with mentally handicapped people, mentally handicapped adults most of the time. That what are we to do with them? For instance, last week we went to a call where a male individual, I believe he's in his mid-30s, beat up on his caretaker. That was 1 week. A week before that, he beat up on his mom. Neither one of those times did we arrest that individual because we know that he's not in his right mind. When we got there, he was aggressive towards everybody else, but once he seen that we were there and he knew that we were law enforcement, he calmed down. What Taos County needs is training. That's the main thing about dealing with these mentally handicapped individuals. You hear about in Albuquerque and all these other cities that these individuals are getting shot, and we wonder why. Why do they get shot? Well, first of all, sometimes they do have weapons. Sometimes they do have to take the law enforcement part into effect and do what they got to do. But in essence, you need to try to talk to these individuals. That's the main thing. Talking to them, trying to understand them, and at the least or most detaining them. But arresting these individuals, nothing's going to get solved on that because of the fact that they don't understand why they're getting arrested. That's why we have to be more understanding as law enforcement officers, and there has to be more programs out for where we could take these individuals instead of just to the hospitals to get checked, and 15 minutes later they go back to their parents' house and do the same thing again. The parents have to be accountable, not just for holding them and feeding them. They have to be accountable on what they're doing with them.
Okay. We're going to have a lightning round. We're going to ask the same question of everybody, and we're going to get a quick answer. People are going to just stand up in your seat well, I want to tell you what it's about. The Undersheriff has an important role overseeing operations at the department. So we're going to go down the line and ask each candidate who they would choose for their Undersheriff. And to make it easier, just stand and say your choice when it's your turn, and we'll start with Gabe.
What's the question again? Throw it at me.
Okay,
Just
if
say my
you were
name.
elected, who would be your Undersheriff?
He would. He's very good. Oh, in fact, all of these guys are very good.
Are you taking this question seriously?
Yes, I am.
Say his name.
'Cause that was
Jerry Hogan.
Okay, you said a different answer in my office.
No, I didn't.
Yes, you did.
Oh, see?
No way. Oh. Jerry Hogan.
Let's hear side.
Oh, no, you know what? It was Eddie Lucero, but then he has problems with his PRA, so it's Jerry. That's right, it was Eddie Lucero. Gee, I've all this stuff. Next.
I don't have anybody that I would put at this time. I have to get myself elected first, June 3rd, and then I have 6 months to think of who I'm gonna get. If I don't have anybody in mind by December 31st, I will put it out, advertise it, interview, get resumes, get qualifications, get applications, and go through the process of interviewing and hire the best qualified, well-trained undersheriff. That's who I would get.
Okay.
Well, Joan, I'm at a little disadvantage because I cannot name my undersheriff right now. I can tell you about him, though. He's a career law enforcement officer. He's got a lot of experience doing investigations. He's well liked. He's a person that's going to be well respected within this community and within that department. He currently works for another law enforcement agency, and it would jeopardize his position if I was to announce him yet. So I'm sorry, I can't, but trust me, he's a fantastic guy, and you think I've got enthusiasm? Wait till you see him come to the table.
I can't name who I'd pick as the undersheriff, but just so you know, the person that would be picked as undersheriff, they would have to have, in my mind, the same qualifications as the sheriff. He would have to be able to make decisions when the sheriff is not there. He would have to make them just if he was a sheriff. So with that in mind, I would put the person most qualified to benefit the community, myself, my department, and everybody. That's right.
I personally believe in delegation of authority and duties. At this time, I'm not going to name an undersheriff, nor will I. Those monies I'm going to spread throughout the community and throughout the department. So I'm not going to have an undersheriff. Thank you.
You know, I could tell you, I think Betty was reading my mind because my response was going to be very similar. I think I'm focused on trying to go ahead and get elected, but then once I'm in that position, time is just, it stands still. You know, I get to look for the most qualified person, the best person to represent the sheriff's department, integrity, knowledge, and the ability to take over the office in the absence of the sheriff. So that is still pending for me as well.
I feel the same way they do. I think my undersheriff should be loyal, honest, and willing to work with people. He's got to have the personality to be able to handle people when they come into his office and ask questions. We want to be able to give the answers they need. We can't just say, well, let's pick him. No. You know, there's a lot of good people here in Taos that could make good undersheriffs. But we just got to wait and see where we're at this point. Thank you.
Okay, I believe that the sheriff's department doesn't need to wait that long for the sheriff to make a decision on who his undersheriff is. Taos County has their problems already, and it doesn't need another problem by waiting for the sheriff to decide on who he's going to hire. I have already decided that I want Lieutenant with the Sheriff's Department, Mike Tafoya, as my undersheriff. He has been a supervisor with a couple other departments, and I believe that he understands the department as well as I do, and that's why I've chosen him. Taos County doesn't need to wait longer for more problems.
I concur with Judge Betty Gonzalez, but I also concur with Officer Gallegos here. When I make my decision, it will be when I get elected. He will start his term the same time I do. And he will be honest, trustworthy, and willing to serve. And I'll be honest with you, he'll be a senior individual that has many years in law enforcement.
So let's do the next round, and we'll be starting with Betty. We hear from candidates that they favor community policing, What does that mean, and where would the money come from? I'm sorry.
You're first. This is a lightning round, right?
No, this is 2-minute round.
Oh, okay.
You get 2 minutes to answer.
Oh, okay.
I'm not really sure about community policing. This is the first I hear of it, that the candidates favor this. I definitely, I guess I've never, I hadn't heard of the favoring community policing. But any money that would have to come from, to the sheriff's department would, I'm a strong person to go out to the legislature, to go out and get money from the legislature. I will not be one that will go and pay someone to go and lobby for me. I will go myself, like I've done in the past, to get money from the legislature. When I've needed things for my office, I can write grants. I've written a grant to bring some monies into our office when I needed something to my office. So I would write grants and go out to the legislature and lobby for money, any monies that the sheriff's office would need, so that we could be more effective and have better equipment, better training, anything that would help our community. I would go out myself and get it. And that's where you need a strong administrator, a strong leader that will go out and be the voice for you, for the people, and also for the staff. Thank you.
Okay, Jerry, what are the department's budgetary challenges, and where will the money come from to meet those challenges?
Good questions. I'm going to hit David Weaver when I leave the building tonight. No, seriously, this is an excellent question, and for what I have in mind, and I do have a copy of the budget. I served a public records request on Taos County, and I received a copy of that budget. I know that it's $2.1 million. I know which part of it is in salaries, which part of it is in equipment, trainings, and so forth like that, both on the commission certified side as well as the admin side of the department. And I've done pretty extensive research on that. And what I find is it very much parallels the budget that I managed for the town of Taos on the police side of things. I had a $3 million budget there that included both police and communications. Here there's a 2.1. We hope that that could come up just a little bit. As far as the budgetary challenges, yeah, there's going to be a lot of them. We'll go to the legislative sessions. I'll fight for those myself. I don't intend to pay for a lobbyist, but I'm not 100% on that yet because I've never been exposed to presenting a lobbyist, and I'm not sure what the advantages are. And until I talk to somebody that I truly trust, that I know has that answer, I'm not going to make that decision. Now, one of the other things that I just recently introduced at the LEPC, which is our Local Emergency Planning Commission, reintroduced, is a 16%, 1/16% tax. Now, don't be throwing things at me yet. We have a tax that's on the books right now that's going to sunset in about 1.5 years. This tax could simply replace that one. It would be no bottom line change to the community. That tax can be used for two things. It can't be used for public safety, actually. It can be used for EMS, and it can be used for communications. If the county is absorbing the communications system and the dispatch services, this could subsidize or pay for the majority of that. It could also go 40% into the EMS budget, relieving that out of Taos County's general fund budget and opening an avenue for me as your next sheriff to get more funding for my department. And there it is.
There have been complaints from and about vendors at the Rio Grande Gorge Bridge. How would you address the situation?
We've had complaints about vendors at the Rio Grande Bridge. Part of as many people know, the sections of that bridge have been closed off. It comes to a thing of jurisdiction. Jurisdiction has always been a thing. Sheriff's office, we can't really do anything with the vendors there. I think a lot of people are should be aware where the boundaries end of the jurisdiction with the bridge. But as far as the complaints from the public we get, that people are, in our office while I'm working, people are aggressive, they're just on the way, they're on the roadway. If they're impeding on the roadway, we can address it. If they're on the other side of the bridge, it's like I say, a jurisdiction issue. And what we could do is get with the agencies that have that jurisdiction and see where we come up with a different policy that says we could work together and try to correct the problem, not just leave it alone, because leaving it alone does not fix anything. If there's somebody else that's in charge, we should get with that department and say, how do we fix this? This problem's not going away, it's getting worse, we need to correct it, it's a issue for the public, so let's work together and get it done.
Okay, Steve. How serious a problem is gang activity in Taos County, and what will you do to address it?
Again, gang activity is a lot like domestic violence. To some degree, we've all had to deal with it, or we've been exposed to it. You know, you just drive down the streets and you see the taggings on the buildings, or you know people that are involved in gangs. More importantly, youth. You know, the youth of our communities are affected the most because these are the individuals that these gangs from out of town target. And the best way to address this situation and address this problem that we face is, again, education of the community, education of the department, training our officers, sending our officers to different trainings on how to deal with these situations, how to deal with gangs, and then training the judicial system as to what the ramifications of setting these people free are. You know, us having to deal with repeat offenders. You know, and then them going back into the community and doing again and committing the same crimes. And this all stems back to, you know, the distribution of illegal narcotics within our communities. It all goes hand in hand. And if you'll notice, and again with the education of the community, all these crimes, to some degree, tie together, from domestic violence to the gangs to illegal narcotics. They're all intertwined to some degree. So I believe that, you know, training is the most invaluable tool that the Sheriff's Department can have to combat this situation, to combat the gang problem that we do have. And I will work diligently as your sheriff to prevent this from growing any further. I will put a stop to it. Thank you.
Well, this is related. Matthew, what will the Sheriff's Department do about graffiti?
What will the Sheriff's Office do about graffiti? Well, graffiti is a crime. You know, it's criminal damage to property. It's somebody's property. And this goes right back into getting your community involved under community policing or community-orientated or problem-orientated policing. If our deputies are in the smaller communities that do not have law enforcement and are doing what I'm asking as far as getting down, know your neighbor, meet the people that are in that community, get to know who are the problem children, who are the gang members in that community. And as they gain confidence in the deputies that are in the neighborhoods, people are going to loosen up. They're going to be able to go ahead and tell you a little bit more. And eventually you're going to gain that trust where you're going to have an open relationship back and forth, and they're going to give you the people who are committing these crimes or who are involved in crimes. On top of being out in the community, people are going to get that fear because they see you stop and talking with this neighbor, stop and talking with that neighbor. They're not going to know which neighbor gave you up. So the fear of these people coming after you is going to be gone. So I think the best way of dealing with graffiti is getting to know our neighbors, being involved in the community, being part of the community, getting the info, getting their trust, dealing with the problem. Thank you.
Okay, Okay, Rick? How will you build a relationship of trust with the local youth?
The way to have them trust you is by talking to them one-on-one, not in a group deal like that, because in a group it's hard. They'll shut down. They won't let you know exactly what's going on. They need to know that you're going to be there for them. Not necessarily the friend, because if you become a friend, then you start letting them get away with things, and you don't want to do that. You want to be honest with them, and you want them to be honest with you. So the only way to work with them is meeting with them, talking to them. You know, we have kids that are this little. Some of them trust them, some don't, because they're afraid of the police sometimes. They see all this violence that they show the police on TV, and that puts fear in them. We don't want them to be afraid of that. We want them to be able to say, that's our local law enforcement. Let's talk to him. He'll give us a good advice of what we should do or not. And I think that's the way we have to work at it. You know, we have little babies here. We don't want them in the same way. You know, we want everybody to be equals out there, working with each other, helping each other, have programs for them. You know, there are a lot of programs that can be brought out here that can be used if you just learn to use it right, get the right people to do it. All right, thank you, folks.
Should we trade out names and see if anybody knows?
Okay, Celedon. Should a candidate's certification as a law enforcement officer matter to voters?
I believe as the chief law enforcement officer in the sheriff's department, being the sheriff, he should be certified. The law enforcement officers, when we take our oath, it's to protect and serve. It's not to protect or serve. We have to be able to do both of those. We have to be able to be an administrator at the time and be a officer or deputy that has to handle calls or assist calls. If we are out in Peñasco or Costilla and there is a call for an assistance call and I am in a regular vehicle going just to a community meeting, how is that going to benefit Taos County? You guys are hiring us as law enforcement officers to be law enforcement officers, to be the chief law enforcement officer of Taos. I believe the sheriff needs to be a certified law enforcement officer, needs to know the law enforcement part of the department.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay, this question is for you. How could Taos County Sheriff's Department deputies be better trained?
How can the Taos County Sheriff's Department be better trained? It's very simple, folks. We have a law enforcement academy in Santa Fe. That's a wonderful academy. All these guys have gone through it. They've been certified through that academy. The academy produces and sponsors new programs that will train the officers. I myself went to so many of those schools, advanced training at the law enforcement academy, and if the academy can't do it, they'll send you to a college. And they'll refer you to a college where you can. Most of my advanced training has all been at the law enforcement academy. The law enforcement academy will answer pretty much all training factors or problems within any law enforcement agency in the state of New Mexico, even the state police. They have their own academy, but it's all in the law enforcement academy. To be honest with you, my intent is to send every deputy. I know the minimum is 40 hours every 2 years, but I'm proposing to send my deputies at least twice a year, a total of 80 hours for each deputy, so they can have advanced knowledge and they can do their job in a correct and proficient manner. They don't have to second guess themselves, well, is this what the law says? They will be trained to interpret the law and enforce the laws that are on the books in the state of New Mexico. I believe that knowledge is power. And if you empower your employees, they're going to be educated and they're going to know how to answer all these calls, all these questions that you're answering, they're questioning us. They'll be able to answer those without having a sergeant or a lieutenant or a chief or a major or a sheriff or whatever be there right there answering the questions for. They'll be able to answer them themselves because they've gone to all this advanced training. And that is exactly what we need, advanced training.
And the last question in this round goes to Gabe. And what will you look for in recruiting new deputies, and how will you retain them?
Hopefully I won't need to hire any new deputies. Maybe I want to work with what we have. It's, well, if we do hire new deputies, they just have to be eager for the job, and they have to have what's in here also, a good heart, and the capabilities of being a deputy. The thing is, when I become, if you vote for me, the sheriff, it's going to be ground zero. We're going to get all these deputies working in one direction, working with the community. And if they don't work with the community in a way that's acceptable by the community, then maybe then I'll be looking for a deputies. But I don't think I will, because all of them are very well educated. They passed through the academy, and they're hard-working individuals. I've known some of them when they were this tall, and some of them when they were that tall. But they're all hard-working deputies, and I'm sure they're well capable of doing the job in this county. But like I say, things happen. Thank you.
In this round, we have tailored the questions to each candidate. These may not be easy questions, but it will allow each candidate to publicly answer concerns that we've heard from voters and from readers, and to set the record straight tonight. So we'll start with you, Jerry. Hold on a second. I have all these clips. You can't peek yet. Hold on. Okay. Jerry, you are an outsider to the Sheriff's Department who is nonetheless candid in his criticisms of it. Do you think deputies who are in the department now would trust and work with you?
I'm an outsider in a way, but I'm an outsider with an inside view of the Sheriff's Department because I have been a resident of this county for 30 years. And I've known the previous sheriffs, the sheriffs before that, and I've worked with them. Remember, I'm a career law enforcement officer. I've got 26 years on the job. It's safe to say that in Red River and in Taos, our paths did cross. So with that said, as far as the criticisms or vocal or whatever that part of it was, I'm not really sure what you mean by that so much, other than just as my turn article says, I'm going to capitalize on the strength from within the department. We've got some good people with good leadership skills within the department. There is no question of that. I've met with and I've talked to these individuals. I've actually made it very well known to them that for my vision to be fulfilled, I need them to stay. And they've assured me that they will. Now, are there other issues within the department? Certainly, absolutely there are. I didn't mention this earlier, but my undersheriff that I'm entertaining, that I'm trying to talk into coming to work for me, isn't from within. but that's okay, because I will be bringing leadership team from the outside. I will be bringing another investigator from the outside. But first, I just want to say that, you know, whatever the intent or the underlying cut of that question was, no, there's some good people within that department. Many of them are standing or sitting up here with me right now, and many of them are out here in the audience. I'm going to capitalize on their strength, and we're going to move forward with our training and making the change and the difference only after I've done a full assessment from within, and I'm comfortable that that's the direction I need to go. Thank you.
Okay, Ricky. You have been in the sheriff's office for several years and have raised several ideas for improving it. But why haven't you implemented these ideas while serving as a deputy?
I've been in the sheriff's office for 14 years. I worked for 2 different sheriffs. My old sheriff is sitting right here, Charlie Martinez, and the current sheriff, Miguel Romero. I often bring a lot of ideas, and I'm one of those guys that's a thinker. I'm always trying to think ahead. I'm not one of those persons that likes to pass a problem because it just gets bigger. I don't like to pass the buck to anybody else. I like to try to solve it. That's my thing in life. If there's not an answer, I don't have an answer, I'll look for an answer. If they don't have an answer, I'll look somewhere else. I've been trying to implement ideas, which was the question was, but being the fact that I am a sergeant, a current sergeant, I can only do so much. I'll tell you an example. I say, well, we should do this. Well, yeah, we should, but that's where it's going to stay. So unfortunately, I'm still one of those that's always, well, can we try this? And I'll try and I'll try and I'll try. They'll either get tired of me or they're going to say, yeah, okay, go ahead and do it because, man, you bugged enough. So the reason that it hasn't been implemented, a lot of ideas, is because of my position. I'm currently a sergeant, and that's what persuaded me to be a sheriff. I figured, why am I trying to waste my time, use all my energy, fight with the own department myself, when I can run for sheriff and I can say, hey, maybe my ideas are good, we could try it now. I don't have to fight over and over. So that's why they haven't been implemented.
Sorry, I didn't call you by your correct ranks, Sergeant. Okay, Steve Miera, if you are not elected, will you remain in the Sheriff's Department? If one of your colleagues is elected, will you still be able to work with him?
Will I stay? Absolutely. Sheriff's Department's where my heart's at. Taos County is where my heart's at. I will do everything that I possibly can to make sure that the Taos County Sheriff's Department is successful in all aspects of its operations, from animal control to civil process to court security. That's what I will do. Through the 2 administrations that I've served under, Charlie Martinez and Miguel Romero, again, I've demonstrated my willingness to progress through the Sheriff's Department by serving as a deputy, well, first being hired, then serving as a deputy, and as a sergeant, and now as a lieutenant. I will not quit, and I will not stop. That's all. Thank you.
Okay, Matthew, you are currently facing charges for driving under the influence. According to court records, in 2011, you entered a plea of guilty to harassment. Here is your opportunity to explain what happened to boaters.
Thank you. That is correct. In 2011, well, let me ask you guys all a question. Do you guys know somebody that has had these put on? These are handcuffs. Maybe you guys have had these put on yourself. You know, if you have or if you know somebody that has had these put on, it's not a very exciting thing to talk about. It kicks you in places you don't want to be kicked. Yes, that happened to me. And I could sit here and make 101 excuses. Or if I could tell you guys, have I learned from these experiences? Yes, I have learned from my experiences. I have been charged I did plea. Unfortunately, the way the court systems work, I didn't have enough money to fight one of the charges, the harassment. It started off as a simple text message that exchanged 11 times, and I was charged with telephone harassment. Those of you that know the law, the first charge is a misdemeanor. The second charge is a felony. Was I willing to take the chance of fighting, I spent over $3,000 on that one charge alone. I didn't have enough money to continue fighting that. But if I took the plea of harassment, it's a misdemeanor and it's done and over with. Harassment's a misdemeanor over and over again. Telephone harassment turns into a felony the second time you're charged with it. Was I willing to go ahead and be charged with a felony for something that I believe I didn't commit? No. Did I have the money to fight it? No, I did not. As far as the DWI charge, it's all in the same time frame. That was a bad year for me. God has repositioned my life. I have moved forward. I got remarried. I have my kids back in my life. Everything has gotten a lot better. 3 years, we're going on almost 4 years that all this incident has happened. You know, I think that I am human. I make mistakes. I'm not going to give you guys an excuse. I've learned from them. And my lesson is to pass on my knowledge to the other deputies and put programs in to help them if they're going to such a similar situation. Thank you.
Okay, Rick, your website says the Sheriff's Office will assist with the Taos County Adult Detention Center under your leadership. Won't that stretch deputies even farther? Please explain.
It'll stretch them out a little bit, but what I think is if we keep the officers that we have are in the detention center and they need help, we can be there to help them. You know, we can't tell everyone all the time, "Oh, do it on your own," you know. It's your area and that's it. We don't want to take care of it. No, we go in there. We're law enforcement. No matter where it is or who it is, we have to get in there and get involved. You know, all we have to do is put our lieutenants and sergeants to work out in the street if we need them out there while the officer is at the detention center helping. Or vice versa. Let them get in there and help assist the agency there itself. That way we get it done right. If we need, we get a hold of city police, state police, and ask them for their assistance. If we can get all that going, we can do good. We don't need to worry about stretching. We can get it done. But we do have to work together with them. Thank you.
Okay, CELEDON. We've received calls and there have been rumors that you have campaigned in uniform, which is a violation of the state election laws. Whether this is true or not, do you feel you have the trust of the community? And you can certainly address that rumor as well. Okay.
Well, first of all, that rumor is totally false. A letter was sent to the county manager stating that I was campaigning while I was on duty. Another rumor that came about is that I pulled a guy's wife over and promised her that I wouldn't give her a ticket. I promised him that I wouldn't give him a ticket. Those are also false. Another letter that has not been brought up or has not, and I spoke to Betty about this, is somebody sent a letter also in my name stating that there was a sign violation to the city. Those are also false accusations. I believe all those accusations are accusations made by somebody that isn't comfortable with the election. I believe that me as a man, I went and told Betty that I had nothing to do with that. I went to the city and I also told them that that letter should be pulled, that whoever sent that letter signed, put my name, they put my mailing address, they put my phone number, but they did not make my signature. All this is a matter of dirty politics. Dirty politics has no room in the Sheriff's Department. I am politicking on my own out of uniform. People know me because I'm in the sheriff's department. If people come up to me and they ask me, are you running for sheriff while I'm in uniform? I'll say, yes, I am. But I am not telling them, yes, can I have your vote? People know who I am. I'm born and raised in this community. I'm going to be polite to them and answer their questions. But I have not politicked on duty. And that's true.
Okay, Robert. Though you retired from a private security firm in 2007, you have not worked in law enforcement since 2000, when you retired from the Taos Police Department. A lot has changed since then. Why should voters elect as sheriff someone who left law enforcement more than a decade ago?
Ladies and gentlemen, that's a simple answer. The statutes haven't changed from when I retired. The statutes are the same right now. They might be amended and they might be added, but the statutes are the same. Law enforcement's the same as when I retired, and that is really not an issue with me. It really isn't. I will do, and I know how to do the job. I've been an undersheriff, I should say, a deputy chief for 12 years before I retired. We developed policies and procedures for the Taos Police Department, and that's what I'll do as sheriff. I will be an honest and trustworthy sheriff. I will adhere to all the policies of the Taos County Sheriff's Department, and I will lead by example. I'm not feeble-minded. I assure you, I know what the laws are then and what they are now. If anybody monitors the Taos County Sheriff, it's not anyone more than I do. I know exactly what they're doing every hour of the day. I have a scanner in my home, and I watch and I see a lot of mistakes that they make, but they make the mistakes out of ignorance. They haven't gone to advanced training like they should, like the sheriff should have sent them. And I propose to do that. I'm not afraid to be a sheriff, even though I've been out of law enforcement for 10 years. I will be an outstanding sheriff for you people. I will have you people in mind, because you people are the taxpayers. You guys are paying my salary, and my job is to keep you folks safe. I'm not ashamed that I have been retired 10 years out of law enforcement. It hasn't changed for me. I've been in touch with law enforcement officers day in and day out. Thank you.
Well, Gabe, we have a similar question for you. It's been a while since you've served in law enforcement. Do you feel there would be a steep learning curve if you return? Explain.
Has it really changed? Technically, yes. But the heart of it is a good officer, you know, a good officer depends on the community. Has that changed? No, it hasn't. You people are out here, not you people, but you as a community is out here trying to figure out who's going to be the best sheriff for you. As an officer, I was always out there communicating with people, communicating with the plaza, anybody that came into town, I stopped or whatever. I was always talking to people. I was with Crime Stoppers. I was with DARE. Has that changed much? No. Technically, yes. You know, there's new laws out there. There's like Robert said, there's new additions to the laws, but are they really that technical? They probably are, but the thing is, you can work with them. What am I going to do? I just want the officers to communicate with the community. The officers to communicate with the community. Get off their units, talk to them, shake their hands, find out what's going on. And that's the way it should be. But that's the way I'm going to be. I'm sorry. I'm not sorry. This has been a rough night. But I'm there for you. I am there for you. All you need to do is call or communicate with the deputies. I'm sure they're very eager because Taos needs your help. Taos needs your participation in what's happening. Thank you.
And Betty, you have the last question of the evening. Why should voters elect and deputies trust a sheriff who has never worn a badge?
Basically, as a judge, I have worked with all of these individuals in one capacity or another. I have worked with Robert Rivera, Gabe Medina when they were with the city. I've worked with CELEDON and the 3 deputies, Rick Romero and Steve MIERA. I've worked with them when they were when I was on the bench. I worked with Jerry HOGREFE when he was up in Red River, and now he's when he was with the city. And Matthew, when he was state police, I worked with him. The only one I haven't worked with is Mr. Rick Trujillo. But so I feel that as far as respect, they respect me. All the deputies have respected me, and the ones that are new and they are coming. I know Officer or Sheriff Miguel Romero has hired new deputies after I retired, and those ones probably don't know me and maybe they know me because I'm from here and I've lived here all my life, and some of them probably are from here as well, but they never worked with me. So like anything else, you have to work hard to earn respect and trust of somebody. So if I will just have that challenge to take on, to have them work with me. I am a credible person, I have integrity, and I'm professional, and I think that they will see that I am well trained and versed in the law, and I am a professional person, and through that I will earn their trust. And so I'm not afraid to take this challenge on and take this on. I feel that they will respect me. That's not an issue that I have at all. So thank you very much.
Okay, each candidate has 2 minutes to do a closing statement. And Ricky, we begin with you.
Regardless of whether I win this election, I will continue to be a police officer for Taos County, and I will run again in 4 years because it is in my heart to do so. I know every road in this county, the repeat offenders, the areas where no officer should go alone. This knowledge is essential into performing a job whose responsibility it is to protect the individuals who are sworn to protect you with their lives. It is the sheriff's job to get them home safe every night to their families so that they continue to protect yours. Being a police officer, you are a lawyer, a paramedic, a first responder, a crime scene investigator, a psychologist, a social worker, a dispatcher, a fireman, an animal control officer. You have to be compassionate, understanding, fearless, and strong-minded. Sometimes we see people take their first breath, sometimes we see them take their last. We see everything in this line of work. I would not want someone to direct others to do a job they have never done themselves. I have done this job. I know what it takes to successfully run this department as your next sheriff. I have walked in your shoes. I am not a politician. I am a police officer, a military veteran, a community member, a father, a brother, a son, and a husband. I want to make this community safer for those reasons, and being elected as your sheriff will allow me to do so. Thank you.
First and foremost, I want to assure you, I'm not ignorant, nor any of the deputies that I serve with, nor the 2 candidates that sit before you tonight. We're not ignorant. As your Taos County Sheriff, I will address the many issues that face the department and the community, to include civil process, and in particular, animal control. You know, the law enforcement functions that we serve, the court security, obviously the manpower issues that we face. We're expected to cover 2,200 square miles, 29 separate individual communities with 15 officers. I aspire to have 40 officers on the department. Some say that's not realistic, but if you don't have aspirations, what do you have? If you don't chase something, you're never going to get it. I don't quit. I don't stop. You can ask my wife, Gina. She'll tell you how hard-headed I am. I don't quit. I will not give up on you. I will not leave you. Being number 8 on the ballot, that's a good place for me because I toe the line. I don't believe in leaving anybody behind, nor will I. Thank you.
Right. Well, I'd like to take this opportunity to thank Joan Livingston for moderating the forum, Taos News, Channel 22, Taos County Chamber of Commerce, the Kit Carson Electric Cooperative for hosting this event. I'd also thank my wife, family, friends, and all of you here for your support. And last but not least, I'd like to acknowledge the law enforcement gentlemen that are in the room, our support staff, our EMS personnel, and of course, anybody as a public servant. Thank you for what you guys do. Ladies and, well, Clint Eastwood put it best. A man's got to know his limitations. Ladies and gentlemen, a politician promises everything. An honest man promises what he can do. Okay, vote for experience. First Lieutenant, United States Army, 14 years with New Mexico State Police, 4 years undercover with the Department of Justice. Sergeant, New Mexico State Police Motor Team. Lieutenant, Office of Professional Standards, Internal Affairs, Sub-District Commander. 11 years senior supervisory experience. Vote for change. This is my platform. Aggressively attacking the drug epidemic in Taos County, which is the root problem for violent crimes and for property crimes, in coordination with local, state, and federal agencies. Reestablishing partnership with the community leaders and the different law enforcement agencies within our county. And also promoting advanced training for the sheriff's deputies. The more you know, knowledge is power. The more you know, the better you could handle a situation. And also, on June 3rd, I'm sitting number 2 on the ballot. Vote for experience, vote for change, vote VIGIL for sheriff. Thank you.
This is getting harder and harder, trying to figure out what to say. But I'm willing to work with you. I've run, this is my 3rd time to run for the same position. I'm working for you. I'm not working for myself. I don't care what they pay or anything else. It's what you want of me. You're the one that's going to either put me in office or keep me out of office. And the only way to do that is by giving me a chance to show you that just because I'm the only Republican running, that doesn't mean I can't do it. You know? I just want you to understand that. You know, everybody says change Democrat and for sure you'll win. No, that's not just change to prove a point. We want to change to show a point that if you stay the way you are, we do okay. But if you let it get to you, you're going to do bad. And we want to do good. We want everybody to be happy, you know. I don't have the experience that these guys have, like they claim, you know. But I do have the heart to be able to work for you people. You know, you give me the chance, and I will show you that it can be done, and it can be done the easiest way possible, without anybody getting hurt of any type of situation like that. Thank you.
I'd like to thank you all for coming out again to the forum, listening to us. I believe all the issues pretty much have been covered. Everybody here is well qualified to become sheriff. The reason that I'm running for sheriff is because I believe I understand the sheriff's department. I believe I understand the people of Taos County more than anybody else does. I have worked with the Sheriff's Department for almost 17 years. That's 3 different sheriffs. I have chosen my Undersheriff, Mike Tafoya, because he also has the experience with the Sheriff's Department and with other departments. Together, we know what Taos County is. His law enforcement involves Taos County as well. His law enforcement knows part of the tribal laws. The tribal, we don't patrol those areas, but we need to be familiar with those areas. Taos County needs somebody that understands the people, that's willing to talk to the people, willing to listen to the people. And I believe I'm one of those persons that can do it. I believe my Undersheriff is one of those persons that can do that. I believe the deputies that are currently in the Sheriff's Department are those people to do it. There are problems in the Sheriff's Department. I'm not saying there isn't. Will those problems be addressed? Yes, they will. Will it be done overnight? Probably not. Will all these problems get solved overnight? Probably not. But when I get in as sheriff, I will promise you this. I will promise you progress. I'll leave you with this. I just read it. I got it on the internet. It's a law enforcement oath, the law enforcement oath of honor, and this is what my oath to you will be. On my honor, I will never betray my badge, my integrity, my character, or the public trust. I will always have the courage to hold myself and others accountable for our actions. I will always uphold the Constitution, the community, and the agency I serve. So help me God. My name is CELEDON Gallegos. I am first in the ballot. My son told me to say first in your hearts also. I respectfully ask for your support and your vote. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, what prompted me into running for sheriff after being retired this length of time were the burglaries that were happening up north in Costilla Maya. They were averaging 6 burglaries a week. Peñasco was averaging probably 1 armed robbery a month or more, and those issues weren't being addressed. That's what prompted me to run for sheriff. I'm running the sheriff to serve you folks. In November of last year, I was interviewed by the Taos News, and I stand by that promise. I will use the sheriff's budget, my budget, to send these guys to school, to pay for all equipment that is not in the funding of the sheriff's department. That's how serious I am about running for sheriff. I want to be your sheriff, and I will show you what a true sheriff is. I worked for the Taos County Sheriff's Department under 3 different sheriffs back when the snakes walked. But it's not here nor there. I'll tell you what, I know law enforcement. Law enforcement has been my career. Been in it for 30 years. And I tell you what, I wasn't granted the sergeant's stripes. I had to test for it. I had to pass. I was not granted the lieutenant's bars. I had to test for it. And I had to pass the test. I'm not as simple-minded as a lot of you folks think I am. I'm a very intelligent fellow. And I'll be proud to serve you folks. I truly will be. And I will be even equal-minded with the deputies, because you have a lot of deputies in here that are career law enforcement officers. And I give them kudos to them on the salary that they get for all the services they provide. You know what? I think everybody should stand up and give them an applause right now. I really do. That's a thankless job, folks. A very thankless job. Thank you.
I've been sitting here waiting.
So I'm kind of getting the timer at the end of this one.
Oh, it's going to be fun to watch people.
I've opened my heart up to you guys today, and we've all had a good time. Eddie Lucero was going to be my pick, but his wife called me one night and said he's not available. I could hear him in the background pleading, but she would not let him. And so I was talking to Jerry today, and well, that's behind the curtain. But I've opened my heart out to you guys. I'm very human. I hope you feel comfortable with me if you hire me as a sheriff, as somebody you can come to. And in the same way, I want my deputies to be the same way. Because one of these days, they will become contenders for sheriff. And they will have to make people realize that they're there for them. There's a lot of misery in this county, a lot of misery. The economy is bad. People are looking for jobs. Poor parents, they can't really communicate with their kids anymore. And the thing is, the kids are suffering. Read the newspaper, what's happening? The kids are in the newspaper. It's not adults, it's kids. They're the ones committing the assaults, robberies, vandalism, everything that's the adults used to. We're sending them to psychologists. We're sending them to, well, they're getting arrested. And they're going to drug court, hopefully. And then all of a sudden they're getting arrested. And now they're going to prison. Worst of all, we're burying our kids. Shouldn't happen. Have a nice evening.
I decided to run for sheriff because as a judge for 29 years, I saw a lot of things that came up before me. I saw that I had to work a lot with the sheriff's office, and the sheriff's office is a department that I think has been left behind. They don't have a lot of the equipment and a lot of the nice stuff that the state police and the city have. And they lack a lot of the equipment that they need to better serve you. They lack some training, and I feel that with my qualifications and my training as a judge, I have kept up current with the statutes. The statutes do change every year. Every year I go and I get certified as a pro tem, and the statutes do change every year. The laws change, both criminal and civil, and it's good to know what they are, because as a sheriff, you need to know that they're doing the right thing, that they're following the law, they're not giving bad advice, and they're following the statute as it's written. I feel that I have the credibility. I have proven to you that I can be trusted with your vote, and I have proven to you that I am a good administrator. I just hope that you consider me when you vote. I hope that I am number 5 on the ballot, and like I said, I am happy to be number 5. I am 5 in the lineup of 10 children, and that has been a really good number for me. I am well qualified to be your next sheriff. I have had extensive training in all aspects of the law. I have proven myself to be a good administrator and a good leader. I have never let power go to my head, and that's very important to make sure that when you vote somebody, that you make sure that you don't give it to somebody that cannot handle power. I've seen judges that were removed from office because they were not able to handle the power and the authority. So hopefully you will look and vote at qualification experience rather than the gender. I ask you for a vote. Thank you.
Y'all about ready to get out of here? It's my hope that you will elect me as your next sheriff based on the commonality of our moral values and your observations of my experience in the proven leadership that I will bring to this office. I have a passion to do this job and to do this job right, and I will bring that forward every day that I serve this community. I stand for accountability and for responsibility, plain and simple. I lead from the front, and I don't expect anyone to do anything that I myself am not willing or able to do. And with that, as your next sheriff, I think you'll see me playing a much greater role in crime prevention within the community, through community policing, through involvement with forums in our businesses and meeting with the people, inviting them to open meetings and forums much like this, so that we can talk and we can educate the people so they know how to defend themselves against the various crimes, the cyber crimes, identity thefts, the things that are plaguing law enforcement in our nation and our citizens at this day. We will have an in-house training program, which, as you already know, I'm an instructor, so I'm going to lead that myself because I love teaching. Everyone up here pretty much has mentioned, yeah, we need more training, we need more training. I'm the guy that's going to bring that, and I can in-house at a much, much lower cost than sending us out to somewhere else. So I'm going to do that. We'll be in the schools. We will team in partnership with every civic organization that'll have us in their meetings. And I look forward to doing all of that as your next sheriff. It's my hope that you'll take a really close look at my experience, my qualifications, and that you'll base your decision on that I bring 26 years to this job, and that you'll select me and choose whoever your candidate is because their values and their vision align with your expectations. And that's what I'm going to bring to this office. My material is on the back table. The Hey Vote for Jerry and this. My phone numbers are on it. Please pick it up. Please call me if you have more questions. Thank you guys. Get home safe tonight. God bless.
Did I hear you say?
He did.
We organize these forums to really inform voters, especially with a large group like this. And I think the candidates did really well tonight. Questions weren't easy. We didn't want to throw any softball questions. And I appreciate the frankness and the opportunity for people to clear the air. You know, rumors spread through Taos, or people have misconceptions, and we let the candidates speak for themselves. So I really think you've been a great audience, and I also think they've been great candidates, and I think they deserve a good round of applause. I have to remind the candidates that their questionnaires are due Friday. Some people have turned them in, some people haven't. And if you don't, I've already met with a couple of people. If you don't remember when your appointment is with me and my staff, you know, come see me. Anyways, for the next two editions, starting tomorrow, you will see the completed questionnaires from the Taos County Commission candidates and the assessors. Some of the assessors want us to have a forum, but two's enough. And then next week we will have the sheriff's questionnaires completed, also probate judge and magistrate judge. And we will be announcing our endorsements in the May 22nd paper, which will not be an easy job to do. Early voting has already begun at the Taos County Complex. If you haven't paid your taxes, you can do them at the same time. And anyways, you put a timer on me, Susan?
Yeah, you're 2 minutes. 2 minutes is up.
No shame.
Anyways, good night, and thank you so much for being a part of this evening.